Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for everything marketing. I'm your host, Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special reunion 2020 episode. What's that? That's when I had a guest on in the past, and I liked them so much I had to go ahead and bring them on right back for the podcast family reunion, as I like to call it. So, Howard, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And for everybody listening that didn't catch Howard's first show, today I have on the show Howard Lim, and he's president over at How Creative. And Howard, I want to start out with just kind of getting more into, again, for those that the new listeners that didn't catch the first episode, let's start off with what you're doing over at How Creative, please.
So what we're doing is that we create a model really for the 21st century and beyond, where it's really a truly integrated model between the business development, the branding, and marketing, so companies could become much more efficient and effective as far as building their success in an area of growth, wealth, and opportunities.
That's awesome. And so you've been in business, I mean, just to be clear for everybody listening, so Howard, a lot of people talk about business branding, business development. Howard's been in business over 30 years. So you're one, I like to say you're like one of the branding godfathers before it was popular and everybody said they were doing branding or this and that, and no. So I love it, and that's why I like having your point of view, because you on this topic, because you work with huge companies. I mean, Honda, Disney, DreamWorks, Oracle. I mean, there's too many for me to name on one 10 to 15-minute episode. But I'd like to start the conversation revolving around business development and business branding. So what do you feel? And for now, let's talk to the let's say the funded startup, or let's talk to the middle market company. Let's talk in that realm. What do you feel that some of the brands that you've kind of noticed lately either do well or miss the mark on? Let's just start there.
Well, the ones that I find miss the mark is where they're not clear how they truly differentiate from their space. For example, I was just going to be a soon-to-be client, because what she was showing me as far as products she sent me, she was saying that her particular product is totally unique in this space, and it offers this, and it's going to get FDA approved versus anybody else. But when she sent me her product, there wasn't this sense of her identity, her labeling, her packaging that really spoke that she was above all the heap. In fact, it looked like she was part of the heap. She looked like it was done from her laser printer and printing the labels rather than having it professionally done, even though it was professionally done. But the point being that there was this gap between what she was telling me and how I was experiencing her brand, not trying to brand just yet, but the first touch point through her packaging, it spoke like a 4 on a 10-point scale versus speaking like an 8, 9, and 10 the way she spoke about the value.
Man, I love that. And the thing about, let's go a little bit deeper into that. Can you tell a little bit more about your impression of what that first touch is? Because I think that's something really crucial that people miss when they rush products to market or when they think we'll figure it out later. Like that first touch is so important.
Absolutely. So in the world of branding, touch points are described as any opportunity to connect to your buyer. So that could be the ad, that could be the packaging, that could be the product, that could be, let's say, the website, your business card, your logo, the name of the product, the name of the company, the name of the service, or information for that matter. So those are all contact points called touch points. But in my opinion, for the 21st century, it's not enough. They got to be what I call aspiration engagement point. They should inspire you. They should engage you. It not just be there to basically communicate what your brand is, but it really should move you. And so that's the importance of having a strong, what I call, again, aspiration engagement points rather than just touch points. And you're right. The first touch point she sent me, it was through the mail, and when I opened up the package and looking at all her products, first of all, again, they didn't feel like they had that much value around them because they didn't speak quality. The second problem of her products is that there wasn't an identity between one product to the next. They looked like they could have been from 5 different companies rather than one company saying, hey, we take a stand, this is what we look like, this is how we feel like, and this is how we're consistent. And so it lacked that as well. So, yet again, I haven't tried the product. I am going to try the product, but just the first impression of the product was, quite honestly, not very strong at all, considering, again, she's saying her value of her product is more like an 8, 9, and 10, 10 being best. But the way I received the product as far as an emotional response was more like a 2 or 3.
Oh, man. And I love that saying you said. I don't know if that's yours, but if it isn't, you need to get. If it is, you need to get that thing trademarked. Aspiration engagement points. I was like, whoa! I've talked to quite a few marketers. I haven't heard anybody say. Of course, I would expect you to do that. You would rebrand touch points because everybody else does touch points. You're like, no, that's very surface level. What you need to aspire for is, or you need to go for is aspiration engagement points. Are you kidding me, Howard? Of course, I would expect that from you. And it's true, though, because it's highly accurate.
You're right. And you know what? You brought up another point. You're right. I did trademark it. You brought up another very valuable point. Most companies do not protect their intellectual property. And when it comes to the lack of protecting your intellectual property, unfortunately, you're not able to build the value of your brand as quickly as you did protect it.
I love it. I love it. It's a thing, and I'm a fan of it. I was like aspiration engagement points. So now let's tie in your concept of business development with this, because we've been talking a lot about branding. Let's tie in the concept of business development and what that means to you.
So business development is really there's several components to business development as there is to branding, as there is to marketing. So business development for me is like, in a sense, the long and short, is what's going to be your return on investment? How do you plan making money? How do you plan actually being sustainable, and not only sustainable but scalable? So you have to have a really strong business model to take advantage of the 21st century world. Unfortunately, most companies, if you don't, you will pass and fade away, just like Kodak film has faded away, right? So you got to really look at what's relevant, not just for today, but into the future. And, of course, as we know, technology plays a gigantic role versus the 20th century, thanks to a good part of Apple and other companies. But the point being is to be really relevant with your business model so it could actually grow within the different trends that are going to occur in a very new future, and even a distant future for that matter. So there's the business model, and then there's also looking, again, what you had touched upon about was the intellectual property, which is a big chunk of as well for me in the business development section. And then there's strategic planning. Strategic planning is just another word for saying being able to set up your vision and your goals and have KPIs, so you actually have milestones to make sure that you're actually following the right path and achieving those goals, or do you actually need to pivot? So that's part of, or I should say, those are some of the elements that make up a strong business development of a company. But there's other attributes as well, but those are, for me, some of the stronger ones.
That's awesome. So, Howard, you already know I can talk to you about this all day long, but we're about out of time. So that being said, final couple things. So if somebody, so 2 questions. Number 1, what type of companies and clients are the right type to follow up with you that are listening to this? Number 2, what's the best way for them to follow up, please?
So we work with every company in every industry in every category. The companies that are right for us that are going through a growth and they just don't know how to grow. They've done it maybe by themselves or other companies to a certain limit, but they can't get past that limiter. Okay, those are the clients that are perfect for us, and again, in any industry. The way that they can get a hold of and see more of our work and case studies is How Creative, HOW creative.com. And the best way to get a hold of us so I get a better understanding what your needs are is that there's a tab. It's an arrow, and it says request a consultation. You just simply fill that out, and then my assistant will arrange a phone call directly with me, and then we'll talk about your business, what your challenge and goals are.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Howard, always great catching up with you. Great having you on the show and also teaching us more about these aspiration engagement points. So big fan of that concept. I'm in. I want to aspire to it. I'm in. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you had fun listening. We had fun making this for you. If you did, subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And also, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments. I'd love to hear your input on branding, brand development. Let's not let the conversation end here. Let's keep it going on YouTube. And Howard, thanks again for coming on the show.